Hi guys, this discussion is about volleyball history, and it is brought to you by www.HistoryOfVolleyball.net. Now we are going to just touch on just the basics of volleyball history and when it started. We're not going to go into a lot of detail about all the specific dates and everything, just more the origins of the game. The game was invented in 1895, and it was actually called mintonette when it was first invented. A man named William G. Morgan was the one who started the game, and he actually created it just a few years after the game of basketball was started, and it was kind of a piggyback off of basketball. He liked the idea of basketball, that the team was playing together and indoors, but the game of basketball was just a little too strenuous for some of the older men, and he wanted to get some type of a game going that didn't involve as much player-on-player contact. So the game of volleyball was designed to have less contact. In fact, since either team is on opposite sides of the net, you don't even come in direct contact with the opposite team. And also there are not quite as many physical requirements. It's a different sort of physical requirement because you're not required to run up and down the court like basketball players do. Now, William G. Morgan was at YMCA. That's where the game of volleyball was invented, and they played it at that specific YMCA for a year. And then after a year, it was so popular by the people there that they decided to present it to the physical education directors in 1896. And the physical education directors really liked the game a lot. They decided to incorporate it into the official games of YMCA. And at that point, they changed the name to volleyball because of the nature of the game. It was pointed out that the ball was being volleyed from one side of the net to the other, so they decided to go ahead and change the name. And the first official volleyball game was played on July 7th in 1896. It was played at Springfield College. And from then on out, volleyball very quickly became popular. It spread to other colleges and other locations around the U.S., and people loved the game. They really enjoyed it a lot. And very quickly, the game also began to spread to other countries. Within 10 years, the game had spread to many other countries. Canada began playing volleyball in 1900. The countries down in the Caribbean, the islands, began playing in 1906. Volleyball caught on in Japan in 1908. And during World War I, Europe was introduced to volleyball as the U.S. soldiers were over there. They'd play volleyball in their downtime, and so the European countries began to really enjoy the game also as they saw the U.S. soldiers playing it. And now the game of volleyball is very popular all over the world. Rule books have been made so that there are specific rules and guidelines to follow for the tournaments and the competitions. And overall, it's a very popular sport, both for men and women, and teams of all different types of people. There's high school volleyball and college volleyball and professional tournaments and Olympic volleyball, lots of different variations there. Some of the rules do vary slightly, but they vary slightly between the different countries, and again, between the different game types. For example, high school volleyball rules are just a little bit different than Olympic volleyball rules, but for the most part, the overall general game is the same. And it is very popular everywhere you go. One of the biggest advantages that people love about this game is that it can be conformed and adjusted to whatever circumstances are available. You can play indoors, you can play outdoors, and with less people or more people, it's a fun game that a lot of people can enjoy. So that's just a brief overview of how volleyball started, the beginnings of volleyball. And if you're looking for more information about volleyball history or anything else related to volleyball, we have a ton of information on our website, so check it out if you get a chance. Our website is www.historyofvolleyball.net.